Hello and greetings and welcome to this Sunday Xpress streaming special. In case you don't know, my name is Big Brun and normally we would bring Sunday Xpress to you live from San Flora, but given the current situation with the lockdown, we thought that we would bring you Sunday Xpress streaming to a computer near you. Today we have a selection of some of the finest musicians, writers and artists from across the West Midlands. So let's kick things off in grand style and please welcome our first act, the Sunday Xpress.
Me. I really like your music and your words, but the need for praise can be misleading. It's like finding a bogey in a library book, which only serves to put me off my reading. Musicians are guilty of the modern curse, when they need to update each time they write a verse. We best move fast as it might get worse. The social network habit leaves less time to rehearse. Just £3 a month is all we're asking to enroll them on a self-awareness plan. As tax-avoiding millionaire celebrities might say, please general public.
You've just been watching Sunday Xpress. You join me today in my palatial surroundings of my home somewhere in eastern Birmingham. I'm joined today by my cameraman, my brother Michael. Okay love, don't milk your part, I'm the star. Can't get the stuff. Anyway, come for our next act. Please welcome the old friend of Sunday Xpress. Man is in about 6 million bands. Today he's playing solo, Mr. Steve Ison.
see the light, that big old sun shines into a car. There you are, alone once again. I need someone to swing on like a star. There you are. I sang it the night when I was a boy, the moment the actress came, undone like a dress, fumbled in the dark, whispering out her name. Morning stained in a room of toys that were broken. Saturday's love, a Sunday's drown, stumble out the bar. There you are. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da. I said it the night when I was a boy, the moment the actress came, undone like a dress, fumbled in the dark, whispering out her name. Morning stained in a room of toys that were broken. Saturday's love is Sunday's drown, stumble out the bar. There you are. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da.
Doesn't matter. Or at least we like to think that the contents of your trousers isn't here to keep us in the pink. So whether you're a Moby Dick or have a captain in your pants, a button or a mushroom, it's what you do with it that counts. Believe me, there's nothing worse when you've committed to engage in some adulting activities and you reach inside the cage to unleash the beast. But your hands can't seem to find the member that you're looking for. I don't mean to be unkind, but imagine as I continue in my exploration down below, and I'm hoping I'm mistaken and I've in fact just found his toe. But no, this is his penis. But, like I said, it doesn't matter, because surely a man who is intelligent has some other skills that he can offer. Well, it's safe to say he didn't. And after inhaling half my boob, he valiantly tried to insert himself into my anticipating tube. Is it in? I can't tell. The thoughts run through my head as I find the politest way I can to remove him from my bed. Now, this is also true in the reversal of this story, and I once came across a monster that belonged in a laboratory. Dear God, what is that and where do you think it's going? I can feel my cervix shrinking as I watch his tickler growing. And he's so proud of his appendage. He doesn't seem to realise that my vagina needed extra care to accommodate his size. And so, yet again, a lacking in his knowledge and due attention proves size really doesn't matter, nor do your dimensions, because even a perfect pork sword will fail if it's attached to a man who later proves himself to be a delusional fucking twat. So, this is a cautionary tale to all those who own a trouser snake. Size really doesn't matter. So don't make this huge mistake. Whether you're gay or straight, heed this testimony and pay attention to the details. And then you'll be the master of this ceremony. Thank you.
And that was the very wonderful Pixie Vix. And now we have a short story read to us today by John Napier.
Okay, I'd like to tell you a story, quite a short story, about a very unpleasant yet ultimately cathartic experience that happened to me recently. I want to tell you about the day I got beaten up by Justin Bieber. It all happened just a couple of weeks ago, though it seems like another lifetime. I'd seen a post on Facebook that Justin Bieber was coming to Birmingham to perform a huge concert at the NIA. I was offended that such a talentless prick could sell out such a huge arena when there were so many better struggling musicians I could think of that would be worthy of such a platform, including, though I'd never say so publicly, myself. So I decided to vent my spleen in the comment section below. I began by insulting his music, and pretty soon some of my friends began to join in too. After taking the piss out of his latest single, we moved on to mocking his clothes, his hair, and his ridiculous bad boy persona, and finally goading each other on to invent more and more creative ways to inflict pain on him should we ever get the chance. We used words like bitch and squirt to describe the object of our scorn. Eventually we all ran out of steam and I logged off to carry on with the rest of my day without giving my sadistic rantings a second thought. However, later that day, as I was listening to some records, I heard a knock at my door. I got up to answer it, and who, to my utter surprise, should be standing there but none other than Grammy Award-winning, platinum-selling pop superstar himself, Justin Bieber. But it wasn't just the realisation of who it was that shocked me so, it was his appearance too. He seemed so different to the impression I'd had of him watching TV or seeing him in magazines or on the internet. Perhaps it was being constantly surrounded by huge bodyguards that made him appear smaller than in real life, for he was a few inches taller than myself, and his chest seemed about twice the size as my own. I suppose that's what a clean Hollywood diet and the legions of personal trainers he was no doubt able to afford will do for you, but his arms also seemed massive like tree trunks. I was stunned and simply stood there, mouth open. Bieber said something about having seen my comments on Facebook and asked me if I thought it was funny to take the piss out of someone just because they were more popular and successful than I was. I admit that in spite of the disorientation I was experiencing, his comments did hit a bit of a nerve. But before I had a chance to recollect my thoughts and respond, he hit me smack, right between the eyes. It must have been a good punch because I went right down, blood spurting from my nose. Bieber then leapt on top of me, his knees expertly pinning my arms to the floor as he hit me repeatedly round the face, screaming, "Who's the bitch now, huh? Who's the bitch now?" After a few minutes, the pummelling stopped. Bieber athletically sprang to his feet and I breathed a sigh of relief, believing that my ordeal was over. Bieber slowly opened my front door, but not to leave as I was expected, but to reveal a most terrifying sight. For standing there outside my front door was a gang of all the heinous celebrities I'd insulted on social media that year, including Donald Trump and alt-right white supremacist Richard Spencer. One by one they surrounded me and I began to prepare myself for the vicious beating I expected to receive. But these despicable people had something far more humiliating, far more perverted in mind. With a chuckle, they unzipped their trousers and began stroking themselves. Their penises, to my horror, were all enormous. Donald Trump's in particular seemed freakishly gigantic, like a sea creature. It made mine look positively prepubescent in comparison. One by one they brought themselves to climax and sprayed their sticky mucus in bucket loads all over me. This was the lowest point of my entire life. I couldn't imagine a more unpleasant experience than the one I was having at that very moment. But in the depths of my despair, something incredible happened. These vile celebrities, whose worldviews I hated with every fibre of my being, suddenly appeared like angels before my eyes, and their hot jizz felt like the cooling waters of a baptism. For it was at that moment that I received a profound revelation. I realised my mistake, that I'd been wrong to attack these people in such a personal way, that no matter how hideous their beliefs were to me, I had to rise above petty name-calling and body-shaming, and instead attack their ideas, not their appearance. using reason, not violence. For goodness is only ever inspired in others, not forced. Amen.
I breathe. Still breathing, not dead. Did I disturb you with the checklist in my head? Still breathing, not dead. Wake up, think it, blink it into life. Still breathing, not dead. The pain has gone. It went with love and tears. Years have washed it silent. But the trees whisper, questioning, still breathing, not dead? It's my fault. It's my default. If I hadn't, then you wouldn't have. Still breathing, not dead. I need to add a number 3 to this list of freedom for this caged bird. But what else is there in life? I breathe, I live. I breathe, I live. Make it stop.
That was the lovely Alice Smith there. And next we have another poet. All the way from our lovely city of Birmingham, Jack Arkle.
Good afternoon. Welcome to my kitchen in South Korea. My name is Jack Arkle. Hope everyone's having a great Sunday. I've got some poems for you. The first of which is about people who could quite easily break me in half. Hence why it's a good idea to read this from my home where no one can get to me. So this one's called Beach Muscles. I've seen him round, shirtless and assured, vascular vanity for the physique that he's procured, standing at the beach and flexing out his biceps, showcasing abs and baby oil triceps. Thank God those rhyme for the purpose of this piece, with all his other muscles covered up in grease. No time for anyone, desire is only quenched when hitting targets for the amount that he can bench. That mask of masculinity and all that it entails, sentiment smothered while testosterone prevails. Flex those muscles, but don't exercise emotions. Mix that protein shake, your alpha male potion. Never express, elect to repress the scars beneath you'd never guess that he'd possess. Neglects emotions, but he's a man nonetheless. And nothing words can say could make him reassess. 'Cause men don't cry, their tear ducts sweat. 5,000 calories and 50 cigarettes. Raw meat for breakfast, a live animal at noon, a herd of cows for dinner, and again at midnight too. Fuel the engine, retain the mass. A supplement enthusiast, with his beach muscles beneath his skin, no substitute for kindness, or passion, or empathy, the qualities that define us. Do you even lift, bro? I'm sure that's all you do. Back into the gym, endless deja vu. So the next poem is one that I haven't looked at for a long time, so I'm going to use my battered laptop as a teleprompter, just to let you behind the curtain. It's called Paper, and it's about the overimportance placed on educational certificates for young kids. So here it is. They say he's nothing if some paper doesn't prove it. A pointless life, but if he studies, he'll improve it. Those voices tell him he's no Einstein, he's no Edison, just a pretender taking someone else's medicine. He'll never make it, aspiring to be something great. No invitation and arriving to the party late. They feed him warnings, he's digested every single one. And now they're part of him, as much a part as where he's from. And where he's going, he waits for them to give advice, because he trusts them to shape the routes he'll choose in life. Memorizing paper, to earn one with his name and grade. And if the number's right, then there's more paper to be made. Failed to make the grade and success is foreign scenery. Time to reflect on all the things that he could have seen. Not to mention all the things that he could have been. But he was made to think that all of these were only dreams. So he woke up. And that's when life really changed. He thought he ought to stop dreaming now he'd come of age. He lost the very thing that made him so ambitious. They said his goals were fake, his heroes were fictitious. He stopped partaking and became a mere spectator. A crossed out name on a torn out piece of paper. He joined the others giving up their goals indefinitely. All thanks to those above defining what success should be. And the next poem is gonna drink some water to avoid sounding like I'm undergoing puberty on camera. The next poem is the most recent thing I've written, and it's about introverted personalities. So if there are any of you out there, then this is for you. It's probably the first thing I've written for like 12 months. So I was glad that it kind of rolled back to me after all this time. So here's this one. I can't even speak now, which bodes well. Here we go. Blurred faces in a crowded room. I'm delicate as an ancient heirloom. I'm an introvert. Capital I. That I is the person I most like to be beside. Social distance before COVID-19. Total distance till I was 20. Self-isolated in my shell. Not good at much, but I do this well. Not good at much, but it's just as well. Well, we're all sometimes masters of the undersell. Low social battery, spotlight allergy. Hanging out with people, just can't wait to get back to me. Coping through a mix of Googled strategies. Each guide to guide me through everyday formalities. Imposter syndrome in a friendship group. It fosters in my bones a need to regroup. Wasted relationships I try to recoup. Fruitless rotation till I'm out of the loop. But I'm happy. I'm unashamed. I'm not flaky, just a little self-contained. I'm sorry about the plans you always had to rearrange. Thankful that you never once forced me to explain. Do you think the personality can change? Or is it in our veins, preordained? Introversion of a certain version. A personality is not an aversion to friends or loved ones or any other person. A vulnerability to social exertion. One thing I need to escape this burden. To be alone sometimes, without guilt. In this palace of serenity I've built. And I'll emerge from between these walls when my battery's charged and I'm ready to call. Okay, if you're still watching, thank you. Thank you for listening so far. I've just got one short poem to go. And it comes with some well wishes to everybody back in Birmingham. Korea started off as the country with pretty much like the highest death rate in the world for coronavirus. But things died down, and that's partially because it's almost mandatory to wear a face mask here. So 99% of people are wearing face masks. So don't believe the rhetoric about masks that's being spread by the UK and the USA, saying that there's no point in wearing them, because it's clear that the countries where 99% of people are wearing face masks are the ones in which new cases are down to like 40 new cases per day in Korea at the moment, at the time of recording. So yeah, if you can source masks, then wear them and just stay safe. I hope everybody takes care of themselves in these weird times. I've got one more poem. So I want to thank James Kennedy and all of the Sunday Express people for having me. I really appreciate it. This poem's called Art is Secondary. There's something to be said for waking up blessed. The sad songs you sang make a little less sense. Awake and alive just like everyone else, but holding a secret that they don't possess. And it doesn't make for great poetry to say that all is well, but art is sometimes secondary to a heightened private wealth. So thank you so much. I look forward to watching the rest of the performances and hopefully joining in with Sunday Express in the near future. And I hope that pretty soon we can all get back to physical events. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.
There isn't much left to say. Maybe there's still a decade predicted any time scale is simply just a mistake. Demonic Adult contemporary, adult contemporary. I can't believe it's me, I can't believe it's me. Adult contemporary, adult contemporary. Yeah, I can't believe it's me, I can't believe it's me. Swab lives, can't swab lives, the swab. With soldiers mental, and I know that I'm just mental, but I'm trying not to be. And I'm dreaming of flying again. That freaking float up in the air, no, that's not normal. Someone better call the police. Oh, this is a new age. This is a new age of our time. Boomers and doomers in another 1,000 years or so. We'll reminisce, we'll reminisce, we'll reminisce, we'll reminisce, we'll reminisce. Adult contemporary, adult contemporary. I can't believe it's me, I can't believe it's me. Adult contemporary, adult contemporary. I can't believe it's me, I can't believe it's me.
Police warning. Pickpockets operate in this area. Police warning. Pickpockets operate in this area.
English town.
been watching The Church of Elvis. And now, our next artist is a local writer who will be reading an extract from his short story entitled Thank You, Mr. President. So please welcome Darren D. Tony.
There was much satisfaction to be had in this room, as if all the boredom and decline of the world had gone towards the Jupiter system, with hundreds of rockets taking the weight. Here is where our official reboot would begin, and our great minds were mighty proud of themselves for concocting such a marvellous plan. And here is why. Humanity had gone stale, bored with itself. You see, after the declassification of genders, and people running out of places to pierce, tattoo and add fake tattoo, we'd run out of ideas. Originality was dead, and it was clear we'd hit our peak. Everything seemed to lose its colour, its life. Artificial intelligence seemed as far away as it had in science fiction novels from the 50s, so the idea of speeding up our superseding got tossed to the side. This could be revisited, if all worked out. All we had to do was send said nuclear arsenal to Jupiter space, have them all explode in front of the gas beast and its minions, and the heat generated would, so theorized and replicated in many and varying demonstrations, cause Jupiter to turn itself into a sun. Yes, another idea of science fiction, but with our pointless and stupid dreaming of reaching galaxies that had been deliberately put out of our reach being kiboshed. Finally, the focus went on to what was in our own neighbourhood. Travel time to Jupiter was 2 years or under, and this would be no problem for terraforming and repopulation. It was a swell idea, until 13 months later. Oh, we'd better head for the centre of the universe, sir. The president almost choked on his croissant that he'd just dipped in coffee, which trickled down his cheek as he spluttered a reply over the shoulder of his assistant. Yo, what? The president had been going through formal wear designs for his future visit to one of the many jewels that were once Jupiter's moons, now declared property of Earth. Yes, sir, we need to go now. The plan backfired, said the man in military fatigue. There was no time to spot his rank. The president got up and knocked the coffee pot over, extinguishing a cigar. It failed? Yes, sir. Look, can you drop the yes, sir, and get to the balls of the situation? I really want to finish this croissant before it gets cold. Sir, the explosions happened in the exact places as planned, but the blasts only penetrated 17% of Jupiter's atmosphere, and as it barely affected its moons, and what has happened is this. Everything is goddamn reflected, apart from the 17%, and say another 20% with all the moons combined, and it's headed straight back at us, sir. That fucking Jupiter. It just wouldn't accept being part of the plan, would it? The president was furious. Sir, the blast. The president was reflecting. Yeah? The huge combined vibrations caused are gradually picking up pace and, like an invisible, all-consuming wave, will plow through Earth in a matter of days, sir. Well, what are our chances? It won't affect the sun, as its current orbits puts it way out of reach, as long as we get most people underground. I said our people, not most people. How will we know how much damage it may cause? I don't want to be moving for nothing. The wave hits Mars and the space station we have in orbit within a week. Good. Inform all heads of the situation and get their people to the point that they can get out the door with possessions under one arm, fugitive style. This means our army too. Yes, sir. Oh, one more thing. What about the astronauts we have on the miss? Well, what about them? Shall we inform them to head home, sir? No. No, sir? No, sir, indeed. We need to see the effect the wave, the military man nodded, has on them. Yes, sir. Good thinking, sir. Make it happen. Another croissant over here, the president shouted to all. And it did happen. All was ready for when the wave rode through Mars and the MISS, Mars International Space Station. Well, not all were ready, as the people on the MISS were working on samples and other daily routines when they were melted, liquefied where they stood. As they did, they formed into balls of fluid that only zero gravity can create so smoothly. They floated around the MISS, carrying their suits along with them, carrying on their work as ghosts. The private eyes on Earth managed to see their brave astronauts turn to soup before communications were cut out. The moon and its bases were next in line, but the president decided to leave them where they were in fear of word getting out. Then, the big players of the planet hot-footed it to the centre of the universe, Tulsa, of all places. The concrete structure was originally built and rebuilt and built again, for all of this world's mortal powers just didn't know what the hell to do with a portal that they'd discovered in a place you simply wouldn't expect to find a portal to another dimension in. This had been a happy accident during the Cold War, where the then President of America, only, sent a task force to find places where bunkers could be created in towns or cities of very little significance in terms of targets for the commies. A portal was just sat there, just under a few layers of pavement and dirt, through a tunnel you could climb down a ladder with no bother at all, and under 2 minutes. And today, the important people, a contingent of the best of the US military, some secret agent types, a lot of attractive people in tight clothing, and the president, climbed down ready to enter a portal that would take them to what the majority of NASA funding had been paying for since this place was found. The US ISS, the most wonderful and largest space station ever created. The portal was unglamorous and purposefully so. It was a rusty old orange door that looked like an entrance a sewer cleaner would use to have a sit down and drink cold tea from a flask, as in the opposite direction was connected to a sewer network. "If only they'd put a lift in there," said the president, looking up, mopping his brow. A designated shade-wearing CIA man opened the door for a handful of his shade-wearing colleagues. Once they had entered and had made sure the other side of the portal was clear, the president was ushered in, along with a group of armed guards. Almost 24 hours later, all were on board and were settling into their environment. They had everything that a top scientist, a top mathematician, a top architect, okay, you get it. They had the tools they'd require for when they returned to Earth in 2019 Earth years' time. This was significant, as the president had chosen this period to signify the time since the first coming of Jesus. His team applauded his decision, and did so by dubbing their return as the Second Coming.
That was Southern Tony. And Darren's work is available through Bandcamp on Laserdisc Records. Next, we have some Bearwood weirdness from Shadow Void. you have been watching Shadow Void live as part of this Sunday Xpress streaming doodah. And next we have music, madness and noise from Mr. Rob Horrocks.
Hello and welcome to another, well, same song, different guitar. So for this performance I am confused and happy. There's a moon on the Queensway tonight. There is a moon, and the girls hold hands tight. There is a moon, and I love you just right. Not ever, forever. There's a moon on the Queensway today. There is a moon, and my body is astray. There is a moon, and I love you this way, forever, never. She's sweet, I see her walking down the street, and I ask me, ain't she sweet, ain't she nice, look her over, and I ask confidentially, woo, she's nice, just cast an eye in her direction, oh me, oh my. Perfection, description. I repeat, don't you think she's kind of neat? And I ask you, confidentially, woo, she's sweet. America. This is America. 14 days in May. 14 days in May. I am? Do you know who I am? Do you know my name as you tear me apart? Do you care about long hair? Do you know my name as you tear me apart? Do you know who I am? I am. Will you lay down your raincoats? And breathe.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
was Chris Taylor and Armin Ray. And now, the next fabulous act of this session is me. And I'm going to be reading to you from my very own book. It contains offensive language put together by the good people of arts all over the place. And this is dedicated to anybody who's got a cat. This is called Meow. Meow, meow, meow. Every fucking morning. Meow, meow, meow. You just arrived without warning. Meow, meow, meow. It's what you fucking shout. But you're wasting your fucking time because you're not fucking going out. No, 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 princess. Please go back to bed. Daddy's not feeling very well. And he's got a bolly head. No, 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 princess. It's not time to get up yet. So stop all your fucking meowing or I'll send you to the vet. Meow, 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 meow. Still you must insist. Meow, 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 meow. Oh no, I'm bursting for a piss. Meow, 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 meow. Go around my block. Meow, 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 meow. But it's only 6 o'clock. Okay, come on then, you win.
Well then.
And please welcome our next artist of the proceedings, a family member of the thing that eventually becomes Sunday Xpress, Liz Epiphany.
We finally made it outside. Finally made it out so high. No longer heavy, no longer blue. What difference it makes to be outside with you. And we said, not knowing what lies tomorrow, and we lied, entertained by the sky, and we talked about the things we like, and we said, thinking of the time, oh life, it's so, thinking of the time that we, all these years, tangled up in tears. All the tears that we cried, all the love cast aside. Here we are, after all that. Here we
And that was Helen Mary. Next, we have another old friend of Sunday Xpress from back in our very early days. So please welcome Bomb and his magic drumstick.
Hi Sunday Xpress, great to be back. This is my new top 13 shit signal. You don't know this song, but it knows you. You don't know this song, but it knows you. You don't listen to this song, it listens to you. You don't listen to this song, it listens to you. This has been said before. 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 This has been said
on his magic drumstick. And now we have another old friend of Sunday Xpress. He's performed many times with us with his band, the Courtesy Group, but today he's doing some solo poetry. So please welcome Mr. Alistair Hutchins.
Good evening. Right, here's a poem set in wartime. Well, I think it's set in wartime, but you know, I only wrote it, so you know, I'm just following the nose, you know, my nose, the dog's nose, everybody's nose. I'm just following the words, so don't ask me what it's about, okay? Send down the flags, boys. The serial sadness sends its flags down to the fort. It's vanquished now, and some of these are men and boys who do not know their best and do not know their bought. My name is Father Loads. I have a life that stretches round the back end of the valley's code. I see the sing of life gets gassed and grizzled to the ground. In certain keen respects, my work gets lost and blessed, and sometimes in a mauvish moon gets found. This night is calling down the dust, and carefully it hounds the harkers round, sidles and reminds them of a steely temperance in their fraction and their lust. For me, my bear proboscis, there's only now the sparrows here to trust or follow. Put the courage then to fleck the baton, holler. And me and Miss McGee and all the spidered free are plain assailants of a spavined gate. And these your questions are part semblance, part deliverance, and part just waiting on eternal depot central bait. Can I say we hope it all sits, swim or smoke? It's late. The bridled silence grows. The buggle blindness knows. We wait to hear from you. We wait. There you go, warts and all.
There's trouble in the air. We're living on a bubble. The president don't care. We're living on a bubble. The people need the truth. We're living on a bubble. The president's no use. No use. Living on a
and that was the Psychotic Melville's Choir. And next, reading from his forthcoming novel, The Coffee Skills, please welcome Mr. Richard Bruce Clay.
This is the start of chapter 17 from the first draft of my forthcoming novel, The Crovis Girls. It centres around a character called Warren Griefstick, who in one version of the world was murdered at the age of 2 weeks by his own granny, and in another version lives to become the father of the child of Babylon Kyle, one of my recurring characters. Now, this bit is spoken by Warren's dad, Tony Griefstick, and it takes place just before Warren's birth. Summer got warmer, then cooler, and I went back to work. Francis stayed home and kept on throwing up. Everything seemed okay, as close to how it ought to be as you could reasonably expect. The kids were, strange to tell, a big help. With September, we got a new little bunch of second years, aged 12 or 13, but much younger in terms of what they could do and what they could understand. They were wide-eyed or shut-eyed, quiet and terrified or screaming and enraged. The more you got to know them, the more you sensed that the two were, underneath it all, very often two sides of the same thing. They'd have struggled in some cases with the wealthiest and most caring of homes and parents. Very few of this lot had such homes and parents. A fair few would show up first thing with bruises on their faces and on their arms, and in cases where it looked especially bad, we'd get on the phone to the police. When I made such calls, the coppers on the other end, even if they were careful not to say it in so many words, sounded as if they knew the families and had no trouble believing us. But it was just as obvious from those same tones of voices how little chance they thought any of us had in making a difference. We'd had a kid die at home the year before, 13, looking underfed and with eyes sunken and grey-ringed like those of an old man. And the worst thing about it for me was my own lack of surprise when we got the news. I just felt like sighing, shrugging my shoulders and getting on with it anyway, which I suppose was just as well because getting on with it was what I had to do. But when it got out that I was going to be a dad, a lot of the kids were really nice about it. I'm not sure they thought of their teachers as anything quite human. Nice in many, perhaps most cases, but not quite human. We hadn't been born so much as magicked up by some sort of glittery teacher thing that sent us down from a different order of reality. I've not the foggiest where they got that idea from, but now, confronted with the idea that teachers too experienced parenthood, they were full of sympathetic encouragement. Quite a few of the girls had younger siblings, and of course a lot of them had no choice but to become deputy moms for their frequently drug or booze-damaged mothers. One such girl, Brenda, 13, from the horse fair, put together a little booklet of sympathetic advice for me. It was a sort of lo-fi version of the neat instructions Mum had put down in her little notebook. But despite the differences in presentation and literacy, it was amazing how many of the actual ideas were exactly the same. I took it home and put it in a drawer of our new-to-us sideboard, next to Mum's notebook. Colleagues were generally nice about it. They warned me it would be a struggle, and Nipper having me up 3 times a night, then the 3rd years to deal with first thing in the morning. But they never doubted I'd be up to it. It was due round about February half-term, so with a bit of luck, I could look forward to a week's paternity leave to help Francis get started. Somebody should have carved a statue of Francis's mum, though. They could have stuck it in Chamberlain Square, Birmingham, outside that big futuristic library, and called it Optimism. For a woman, a big woman, in her 60s, she was striding around assertive as a Prime Minister, only without the toxic little bit of self-doubt you always sensed was gnawing away at Mrs. Thatcher's insides. No, Rosemary Chesil belonged in a piece of assertive celebratory art, and was already taking to the role of Granny in that spirit. It even showed when she looked over Mum's little notebook of advice, punctuating her appraisal with nods of approval, as it did when she gave the same treatment to young Brenda's effort, this time punctuating her effort with cries of "Ah, bless."
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Richard Bruce Clay. And next, I'm not sure how these got on the bill, but I suppose I better introduce them. Ladies and gentlemen, Sheldon's very own supergroup, Sean Gamble Walsh and the Plagiarists.
She came out of nowhere, as if from outer space. I'm guessing on an asteroid that had crashed into this place. Wherever she was from, she disguised it well with a human face. I suppose that in hindsight, this was quite the curious case. Looking back now, I should have seen the signs, but I just laughed off a human being requests at meal times. I've never seen anyone cry so much as when we watched DT. Her saucer-like eyes welled up, she wrapped her elongated limbs around me. She was a paranoid schizophrenic, socially anxious, didn't like being seen. She only came out at night, fancy dress parties or for Halloween. So on the 31st of October, we stepped out, her 3 fingers in my hand. I was just as nervous as her, cause I had a proposal plan. I hit the ring of the Space Raiders, the sun had set and the mood was right. And all of a sudden, there flashed the brightest of bright lights. It seemed her mission was aborted, she vanished without a trace. She went back to the little green men dressed in black and it left a bad taste. Now when I hear on the news about NASA's latest exploration, my heart skips a beat, I wait with bated breath and anticipation. But then the news filters back about no signs of life. If only they knew all about my potential alien wife. news about NASA's latest exploration, my heart skips a beat, away with bated breath and anticipation. But then the news filters back about no signs of life. If only they knew all about a potential alien wife.
And that was Sean Gumbo Walsh and the Plagiarists. And next, I'm afraid, we have come to our very last act of this session. So please welcome Balaban and the Border Legals.
Like an eagle spreading its wings.
Balaban and the Border Legals. And that, I'm afraid, brings us to the end of this Sunday Xpress streaming special. Thank you to everybody who's been involved, all the musicians and poets, to James and Russell for putting this thing together, and to Richard Short and all the staff at Sunfire, and for you for watching. And hopefully, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, you'll come down and get involved when we restart the live gigs. Please keep an eye on social media. Until then, this is Big Brun and Nick saying thank you and goodbye, and hopefully we'll see each other soon. Goodbye.
And it's good night from him. And it hasn't gone off.